So what actually happens when somebody is debanked, as the phrase goes? How widespread is it?
Right, Anna. So with the people I've been speaking with, they have experienced their bank accounts being frozen, and it could be for a few days or a few weeks. And then what typically happens is that they're unable to access their money, and it means that their direct debits will bounce and they can't pay their bills. And that was what happened with Akil Ahmed from Luton, who's a former postman. And he was unable to access his bank account for 6 weeks. And then when it was reopened, when he showed his ID in branch, it was then closed again after 2 months. And his wife's joint account was shut down, and also the savers accounts for his kids.
Wow, and if you think about, in a very digital economy, how much that means you can't do as a result of a lack of access to your banking facilities.
This is far more of a scandal, quite frankly, than Nigel Farage, who was not debanked. He had a bank account in NatWest.
Well, he was offered one, wasn't he?
He
said that was a late
offered
offer,
one.
so, yeah.
So this is far more consequential. Why is it impacting the Muslim community in particular?
Absolutely. So we know that Muslims are less likely to have bank accounts. We also know that they are more likely to be impacted by poverty, and particularly in a cost of living crisis, it's quite difficult to get around without a bank account in modern Britain. I spoke to one man who 2 days ago lost his Barclays account, and it meant that he had to walk 4 miles because he couldn't catch a bus, he couldn't take the tube or get an Uber. And we're talking about people who are on a less socio-economic spectrum in this country, and it just compounds them in multiple ways.
OK, and how have banks responded? Because, you know, they have responded around the Nigel Farage case. I imagine that there are various angles and sort of threads to the debanking story, and they all require different kinds of analysis. But what have the banks been saying?
Indeed. Well, it was earnings season recently, and most of the bank chiefs told us that they don't close down accounts, they don't take personal or political beliefs when they close down accounts. But we know that the FCA has requested an investigation and will be asking banks how many people have been debanked and why, and that will be coming next month.